Hi, I'm Snez, personal trainer, healthy lifestyle coach, and your guide to feeling your best. This podcast is a segment from my weekly radio show, Wellbeing Wednesdays, broadcast live on 88.6 Plenty Valley FM. It's all about sharing real, practical tips to help you move more, eat better, and live healthier without the overwhelm. Let's dive in, shall we? And now, it was interesting. This week, as I was preparing for the show, I thought to myself, it probably would have been a good idea to maybe have a guy on the show. It's kind of where I was thinking. And I kind of half tried to recruit my eldest to come in, but he's in the middle of uni studies. So that wasn't happening. But then I get here today and Denise, one of the other presenters and one of the trainers here at 88.6 Plenty Valley FM, if you are looking at becoming a presenter, you should really reach out to Denise and maybe have that conversation. But anyway, she was here with Darcy, and Darcy is new to us, new to Plenty Valley FM, just doing his training, but not new to radio. He has done a number of years in community radio. In particular, he's done 10 years, I think, in South Gippsland on South Coast FM. And he's in the studio observing me today, watching, learning from the best. We had a bit of a giggle, though he's probably got more experience than I have. But I thought, hey, Darcy, why don't you join me?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm very thrilled to be on and very happy for you to have me on. And yeah, it's fantastic being in the studio watching a master of the craft at work, I must say. It's fantastic.
Oh, well, that's very nice. Thank you. And I'm super happy that you've decided to jump in. It's kind of like manifested itself in something
perfect,
that was
right?
It's perfect. It's worked. So we're going to dive into food habits that sabotage men's health in particular, and we're going to bounce as we go,
Absolutely,
I think, because now I've got perspective. Although Tony's in the house, we could probably get him to come in and share some ideas. He's oftentimes asking me some health advice when I get in every week. But going to be talking about, yes, definitely some of the food habits that can sabotage men, and whether it's skipping breakfast or relying on just coffees throughout the day, winding down with alcohol at the end of the day, or grabbing whatever's quick at lunchtime, it can make up for a lot of poor choices in the day. And it's not necessarily what the choices are, but more, I think, the routine of guys' eating habits can sometimes be a little bit off. And Darcy, we were talking just off air that one thing I think it's really important for the guys to understand when they're wanting to make healthier food choices and look after their health is to understand that you guys just hold a lot of muscle mass.
Yeah, definitely.
And muscle mass requires a lot of energy and it requires a lot of fuel. And you were sort of discussing that as well, is that, and you're at an age, you're younger, so you're at an age where hungry is a real sensation.
It is. Yeah, 100%. It's always there, and it's a really funny thing to grapple with, because it does almost put you out of your routine, as you mentioned as well. Yeah. So it's a real problem, because, I will sit down and eat a meal and it's a decent sized meal and it should fill me up, but I go, oh no, I'm a little bit hungry, and you sort of fight yourself a little bit, and half the time you lose and you capitulate, and I don't know, get whatever, you get a bag of chips or something like that, or if you're on the run, you get a sausage roll or a pie or something, which you definitely didn't need, and you sort of, you eat it, but it never even feels that enjoyable either, I should say. And then you eat it and then you really regret it. And then the worst part about it, I think, as well, is not only have you eaten too much, but it throws your whole routine out, because then you don't get hungry at dinner time, and then maybe you'll, for example, skip lunch or skip dinner or whatever it may be.
And I've seen my boys do that, and then they'll skip or they won't eat as much for dinner, but then at 10:30 at night they're hungry again. And so and I think that's the most important thing, is to understand that when we're talking in particular about men's healthy food habits, it's more about routine and structure, because if we sort of even unpack that, what you've described there about, you've had something to eat and then you're driving home and you're just like, oh, I really feel like that. I think the most important thing is to understand at that point in time, well, what was that initial meal made up of, and was it satiating? Did it have all the right elements in it, the protein, the fibre, the veggies? Like, did it have everything that it needed for a growing body or a strong body, as that men generally have, did it give the body all the nutrients? And that hunger a lot does come from not satisfying the body's needs rather than, and there's always that, you drive past the petrol station and there's the picture of the, smoking pie.
Yes,
like, obviously that's going to attract us. But I just find that for a lot of the guys, the poor choices or the overeating in particular, I think that's the biggest challenge, comes more from, or we can unpack the reasons behind that if we look at what's happened earlier in the day.
Yeah.
And I think that's the clue for guys, is to make sure that there are no skipping meals. So a lot of men can skip breakfast or lunch and then wonder why they're absolutely ravenous at night time. And I think the reason for that is blood sugar levels dip, cortisol rises, and by the time you sit down and eat for your dinner, your body just wants the quickest, highest fat content, heavy calorie dense meal.
Yeah. Just to ingest some nutrition and get going.
To fill the gap.
Yeah. 100%.
And so I think the biggest thing there is just to make sure, and the advice around that is just to make sure that the guys are really thinking about eating a solid breakfast, making sure that they're having protein at lunch, making sure that there's some good healthy snacks. So a general day of food should look like a healthy, balanced breakfast, a snack, lunch, snack and dinner. And for some guys, it's even potentially a snack after dinner as well. As you said, before, it's not about going for the chips, because generally speaking, your bodies are craving that protein. And so what happens is when you consume that bag of chips or whatever it is, the body's like, awesome, that was great. But I still haven't got that protein that I needed. So the hunger signal just keeps firing. And it makes sense. I think the other issue, especially for men more in their 40s, and that is relying on alcohol at nighttime to relax. And the issue with that is that alcohol can disrupt sleep. It does affect the consumption of food at nighttime, or that generally comes along with that alcohol consumption. And the thing is that even overconsumption of food, what happens is when we overconsume in main meals, especially dinner time after a big day, what happens is that because the body has been given a quantity of food that it's not quite able to process, it has to redirect blood flow to from other aspects of the body. So to redirect, and it will shut down things like the emotional center of the brain, and just because it's like redirecting everything to the stomach to process what we've just had. And so that in and of itself can be a bit of a coping mechanism, because if the emotional center switches off, it's just like that feeling of like, oh, I can't be bothered.
Don't have to deal with it anymore.
Exactly. Exactly. And that, without kind of realizing, is a nice feeling. And if you've had a massive day, it's something that you would probably look forward to feeling.
100%. But it doesn't actually serve any real good purpose. Exactly.
And in particular, that overeating and the alcohol consumption at nighttime, it disrupts the sleep. And one thing is feeling hungry. The other thing to understand for the guys is that when they are lacking sleep, it also increases hunger. So when we even go from 8 to 7, definitely even 6 hours of sleep, then what happens is that the hunger hormones increase in concentration in our bodies. So that hunger starts to increase as well. So the things that we can do to reduce that alcohol consumption and that overeating at night time is firstly make sure that we've had enough throughout the day, but also finding alternative ways for guys to chillax. 100%. At the end of a day. So what would be some suggestions of chillaxing at the end of the day? And so you're a younger person, so I don't know how much stress there is compared to sort of...
Depends what kind of day I've had, like everyone, I suppose.
Exactly, that's right. Different types of stress.
It is, exactly. Look, I'm not in uni at the moment, so I actually am in a very chilled place. But I was at uni. I did a bachelor's, and that could be really stressful, especially around exam time. And that's where you're just always switched on and you're having these long days and long nights as well. And that's definitely that point where I think, for myself, fortunately, I've never felt particularly inclined to go towards alcohol, although, mind you, soft drinks and the like basically feel that sort of same thing of an easy, relaxing way to deal with it. But what I would normally sort of go for, and it probably is a healthier thing to do, certainly if you can do it in moderation, is going to things like video games or movies or whatever. Just having some other way that or something that can really
switch off,
make you switch off, that is engaging enough that you stop sort of thinking about the rest of the world for a little while, and that gives that same sort of switch off to the emotional centre in the brain, as you were talking about before.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think also if we are going to sort of, offer some different suggestions, I find that a lot of our evening sessions, even at my gym, is mainly the guys.
Yes.
And that's another thing that they like to just come in, their day's done. It's kind of like an hour to themselves, and they can just get those endorphins flowing through the body. So I think it's also a great time to potentially, even though you probably wouldn't feel like it, I know a lot of the guys after a big day, probably it's not something that you would naturally feel like, but if you can kind of break through that.
Exactly. And some people do. Quite a lot do. It's as always, it's different people, different sort
choices,
of choices in life and different ways that you feel. But certainly if you like very actively enjoy the gym and fitness, that is perfect. That's a much better solution than sit down on the couch. But
although sometimes we just need that.
You do just need that.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Sometimes we just need that. The other thing, and we were talking about this again off air, is quick snacks and convenience food. So there is a tendency, because I see it with my own husband and boys, and it's just going for easy options. So packet of chips, anything you can just kind of grab. And we're having this bit of a joke off air, is that if the guys need to peel a fruit or chop it up, like it's
already over.
It's over.
Game over.
It's not happening.
Exactly right. Yeah. And
I'm not. What is that about? Like, you guys will eat an apple or a banana?
It's the honest
mandarin.
truth. I can't actually. I can't explain it, and I'm guilty of it. It's. I think it's just any sort of. I don't know what it is. It's really hard to explain because it is silly. But if you grab an apple, you start eating it. But as soon as I think it's a mental thing of as soon as you start thinking about, but I've got to get the peeler out, and it's so much hassle. Think of all the dishes you've got to do. But
who can be bothered?
It's exactly. And even though it's the tiniest little thing that doesn't matter at all, I think as soon as you mentally put yourself in that frame of making it effort, it sort of makes you start making those bad choices of but is it really worth it?
Yeah, because you're going, as you said, you're going the peeler or whatever, chopping boards,
exactly.
bag of chips.
Yes, exactly. And you go, but I can just grab this right now. It's done.
And the thing is, what's really interesting about that is, like, we don't really necessarily need to unpack the psychology, do we? We need to just go, that's what it is.
Yeah.
So have the options around that are going to be the ones that you will go for that are healthier. So let's not try and convince guys with this age-old system that they have
exactly.
to do something else, unless the mums and women are out there ready to chop some of that fruit.
I was going to say willing to put in the effort, which you shouldn't. You really shouldn't.
So maybe just surround yourself with the options that you will go for.
Exactly. Or one thing that I like to try and do the best that I can, especially in summer, because I love summer fruits, watermelon and the like, strawberries, whatever it may be, I always just try to make that effort. And it is an effort, but once you do it, you really sort of you'll really be happy with yourself. You'll
appreciate yourself doing it. Yeah.
Exactly. Is just going ahead and chopping up all of that as soon as you buy it from wherever you go.
So you're still in the mode of working.
You're still in the mood, yeah, exactly. As soon as you get home, don't just unpack your fruit or your veggies and put them in the fridge. Just go, right, you know what? No, actually, I'm going to get this watermelon out and I'm going to chop the whole thing up, going to put it in containers so I can just grab it as I'm going, even if I'm going out the door. And now it's as easy as a bag of chips.
Yeah, because you're sort of in the doing mode, whereas you put it in the fridge, that thing ain't coming out.
Yeah, exactly. And that's happened to me many times. Once it goes in the fridge, you never actually end up dealing with it because you leave that mood and it's, I can't be bothered anymore. It's exactly right, yeah.
Okay, so it's about getting you guys on the run while you're in that work mode.
So. In the zone, yeah.
The other thing I think is, and we've sort of touched on this a little bit, but it's about the bigger evening meals. So skipping, not making time for breakfast, and maybe rushing, not leaving yourself enough time, or maybe early starts. I know some of the guys that are up at 4:30, and that's not really any time of day to be eating food.
Like me, yep.
Yeah. So I think definitely having that meal later on, and I think that's probably the biggest thing, that if we can get the guys to sort of unpack this a little bit, and even if it's just grab a protein bar and have that, and then maybe have a chicken wrap or something from, even from Subway or whatever.
Yes,
just kind of go to the obvious options that are going to allow you to make better choices, or just taking the time to just find even 2 lunch options that you can just repeat. I know guys are really good at following a plan and then just repeat.
Yep.
So I think the thing is, it's not just what men are eating, but it's more about the how and the when they're eating, like skipping the meals or overeating at night time and sort of not preparing. So I think the biggest thing for guys, my challenge to the guys this week, is just to pick one change, and maybe that's just going to be add a breakfast or add protein to your breakfast. If you're just having the plain old toast with butter, just put some peanut butter even on it, just to increase the nutritional value of it. Maybe having one alcohol-free night, or maybe adding an afternoon snack in. If you are grabbing chocolate, maybe just stack yourself up with some protein bars as a quick and simple swap. But one or 2 little changes is all done consistently is what's going to bring about a substantial change. And what I know with working with people, and for myself as well, once I nail one thing, then it snowballs. You get excited.
The goal's achieved. And
Yeah.
you can keep sort of going, I can do this.
Yeah. So what else can I do?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's the biggest take home is don't try and change everything all at the one go. Be aware of some of the limitations. Start to observe what your guys are doing in your lives, or guys, if you're out there listening, just start to have a think about, well, what am I doing that's not serving me at the moment, and what small tweak can I make this week to make that all the better. Thank you, Darcy. You sticking around?
Sure am.
Thanks for joining me on this segment from Wellbeing Wednesdays, as heard live on 88.6 Plenty Valley FM. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with someone who might find it helpful, and subscribe so you never miss a show. Want to catch the live broadcast? Well, you can tune in Wednesdays from 12 till 2 p.m. on 88.6 Plenty Valley FM, or find my info on Wellbeing Wednesdays with Snez, the Facebook group. Take care, stay healthy, and remember, it's the little choices every day that create big changes. Talk soon.